So, good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. So, my name is Ihab Islasad, so one of the reporter of Group 1. So, our topic is week 11 with the title of Biotics. So, before we start, let us read and know the outcomes of this week 14. So, learning outcome. So, number 1, discuss the different case of biotics. Number 2, justify their ethical principle on certain bioethical case anchored on a moral theories as discussed in this learning material.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will discuss the overview of bioethics. In the world characterized by great scientific and technological progress, the view on human's self is also scientific. The human being has gradually lost his or her value as a unique creature. Today, most human problems can be addressed by science. It seems that many people submit to the objectivity of science and forget its limitations in knowing the truth. Hence, this discipline is designed to enable teachers to teach the students the limitations of scientific objectivity. Higit pa riyan, ang disiplinang ito ay nagpapaalala rin sa mga mag-aaral na ang mga prinsipyong etikal ay hindi maaaring alisin sa bawat pagtuklas ng siyensya. Ang iba't ibang ibinigay sa bahaging ito ay makakatulong sa mag-aaral na suriin ang panganib at kapaki-pakinabang na epekto na nauugnay sa bawat pagsulong sa siyensya at teknolohiya. Bagamat maaaring ito ay madali ang paglalahat, ang pagsasama ng bioethics sa akademikong kurikulum ay unti-unting namumulat sa mga mamayang Pilipino sa iba't ibang isyu na dala ng pag-unlad ng siyentipiko. Ang kamalayan na ito ay ang simula ng isang mas responsableng mamamayan. Ang pananagutan sa konseptong ito ay tinutukoy ng matalinong pagpili ng mga mamamayan ng mga pinuno na magpapakita ng bawat Pilipino sa larangan ng paggawa ng patakaran. Bukod dito, ang iba't ibang isyu na ipinakita sa kabanatang ito ay maaari ring bumuo ng mga kasanayan ng mag-aaral na timbangin ang mga bagay sa maraming pananaw. Inaasahan ang bawat mag-aaral ay may kanya-kanyang pananaw sa bawat iniharap na isyu. Ang pakikisali sa debate o debate na may opinyon ng maninisid ay nagsasanay sa mga mag-aaral na makipagtalo at lumahok sa pampublikong talakayan. Ito ay halos pagsasanay para sa isang responsableng demokratikong lipunan. Ang paggalugad sa disiplinang ito ay nagbibigay sa mga mag-aaral ng pagkakataon na bumuo ng kanilang mga kasanayan sa pangangatwiran sa etika upang masuri nila ang mga problema sa isang mas maingat at mapanimdim na paraan.
So, good day everyone. So, History of Bioethics of Week 14. So, bioethics is a young discipline introduced by Van Pater in the early 70s. So, according to Van Pater, itong young discipline na to is to bridge between scientific fact and ethical value in the world. So, yung mga values natin, so yung mga ethical standards natin, so ito yung bali nag-link doon sa field of science, study of science na ito. So, let's proceed to ancient history. So, history of bioethics in ancient times. So, si Hippocrates, so may binigay na 5 principles. So, abortion could not be permitted, euthanasia was to be avoided, professional secrets have to be maintained, decorum and honesty dictated life, and the patient could not be harmed, rather the patient's well-being a goal to be looked for. So, dito sa in ancient times, so makita natin ito yung bioethics in the form of these principles. So, example nito, abortion could not be permitted. So, ito yung mga bagay na pinapaboran talaga yung life, no? So, sa time natin ngayon, however, may mga ibang bansa na o may mga lugar ng mga tao, mga doktor na gumagawa ng abortion. So, next one, in medieval times, so traces of bioethical discussions in the works of Saint Thomas which showed the occurrence of the discipline subject matter in this period. So, in medieval times, so ito si Saint Thomas, dealt with issue relating to homicide, suicide, the pain of death, and mutilation. So, na may topic din no si Saint Thomas regarding bioethics. However, dahil nga isa siyang expert sa natural law theory, so mga discussion na yun ay may emphasis talaga sa natural law. However, yun nga, bioethics rin ay included din naman sa kanyang mga discussions. So, in modern times, so two strands of bioethics engage in 7th century. So, the first one is medical deontology at the second one is teleological interpretation. So, ito si medical deontology, nakabase ito sa Kant's philosophical view, while si teleological interpretation is nakabase ito sa Bentham's utilitarian perspective. So, sa postmodern na, so characterized by highly progressive period in the realm of bioethics. So, dito na mas mataas yung progress ni bioethics dito sa postmodern time. So, with the conspicuous development is the question the capability of man to handle such progress. So, kasi nga, yung progress na yan ay mabilis. So, nag-arise din yung mga question kung ma-handle ba ng tao, ma-handle ba natin yung such progress. So, discussion on justice, freedom, and societal order paved the way for the rising knowledge of human rights which is rooted man's dignity. So, yun nga, ito ngayon sa bioethics, na-include na rin yung discussions on justice, freedom, societal order regarding use of science and application of ethics and those scientific studies. Yes.
So, good day. My name is Ihab Lasad. So, my topic is ambivalence of biomedical progress. So, the first 2 decades prior to the emergence of bioethics were marked by a tumultuous progress in biomedical science. So, human beings' desire for the development and discovery have led them to tremendous achievement in the area of economy, politics, science, and technology. So, human being daw is sila desire to paunlarin sila desire sa paunlarin lang mga economics, politics, science, and technology. However, this grandeur success both human being into a catastrophic situation because of their incapability handling the potential of their discoveries. So, wala sila capability to handling the potential of their discovery. Hindi nila kaya i-handle. So, instead of using his invention for the benefits of the people, it turned out differently. So, next, the World War II manifests some of the horror of scientific and technological discovery. So history tells us how the Nazi misused power and abused humanity with the aid of science invention. So using this invention, gi-abuse sa Nazi ang mga humanity with the aid of science invention. So after the World War, there were discovery in science in 1953, the finding of the double strand of DNA. So, lead to enormous interest in the genetic. With this finding, human being can be seen from the biological point of view. Nevertheless, it also opened the way for man to be an object of experimentation. In 1994, the new techniques of reanimation changes the course of sickness. So, pagabot na sa 1994, sila na sakit, marag na sila invention na sakit para ang mga tao, marag sakit ang mga tao, sickness. The life-threatening disease which one affect the whole human race will gradually figure out. The transition between life and death become fleeting. So, in 1955, the work transplanting began the possibility of renewing essential part of man's body. So, pagabot sa 1955, tari na nagsugod ang transplanting. kanang man's body. So mga shape sa body, part of body. So 1960, there was an extensive experimentation on anti-concept of device. Man could now separate the sexual and reproductive part of his body. So the last two discoveries paved the way for major physical and sexual genes or sex organs transplant. So mao ni ang sex organ transplant. So example ani is kanang transgender. Kanang kanang mga transplant sa kanang mga kidney. So kani is sex organ siya. So example ani is transgender. So human rights. Incorporating human dignity in the philosophical treatises highlight the discussion of human rights. The rights include the right to health and to health care as aspect of justice. So tanaman ta natay our rights with our own health. But this justice was often neglected in the society, is crisis in the governance. So kanina justice murag mawala ni kung mag-face sa mga crises and governance. So during World War II, violence of this basic right was rampant everywhere. Abuse to commit advance the interests of the Nazi party. So one basic example was when the Nazi soldier classified the person mostly Jews or according to the age and health instead of letting the aged live and curing the sick. They were brought to gas chambers since they were not useful anymore. So mo na ang Nazi daw is sila mga prisoners o tigulang na kanang mga dysfunctional, useful. So ilang gidala sa gas chamber instead na yang i-cure or let him go. So ilang gidala sa gas chamber because wala na sila, mga useful na sila, tigulang na sila, wala na sila kaya. So dysfunctional sila. Murag Nazi is murag ang Nazi gi-abuse ilang mga dignity. So especially and kanang mga these dysfunctional prisoners were sentenced to death without consideration of their dignity. So kanang sinintensyan sila o wala sila mga without consideration of their dignity. The capability to the person contribute become the basis of existence. In the war ended all the human right violations were both trial many were imprisoned and sentenced to the death after the Nuremberg trials 1945 to 1949, which exposed all the horror of the atrocities of Nazi. When concession came and the violation of the law of the state, there was need to affirm the dignity of man and express them in diverse manners.
Good day everyone, I am John Eric Agripalo. My topic is crisis regarding the myth of ethical neutrality of science. The positivistic approach of science keeps a way of thinking that says there is no need for a general ethics that would interact with the perfect objectivity and rationality of facts. This means that there are incidents that illustrate how science abandons the role of ethics in order to justify some unethical interest. It should be acknowledged that pure and applied science must be related to ethics because not all scientific truths are particularly valid. Next, environmental crisis. Since 1960s, the philosophers, scientists, entrepreneurs, politicians, and the general public had to recognize the massive impact on the environment, water, and the air, the extinction of many species, and the breaking of thousands of creatures' connections with their natural habitat as a result of human activity. And almost decade ago, the realization of the need for the radical cultural change led to the creation of a new discipline, bioethical, which combined the worlds of science, particularly biological and ecological knowledge, with the continents of ethics and human values. Humans are equipped with intellect which made more accountable to himself, to other humans, and to non-humans. Next, bioethical principles. The broad study of what we should do or should to not to do, what is right or wrong, and what is good or bad. According to our beliefs and moral reasons is ethics. There is a subset of study known as bioethics, which focuses on the interactions of ethical principles and the biological functions. It composed of various principles that serve as the norms by which every factual opinion, statement, or decisions is guided in order to benefit the general public. Furthermore, these principles respect the dignity, ensure justice, maintain confidentiality, promote truthfulness, uphold faithfulness, and protect the wholeness of every person involved in any bioethical issue facing society. And lastly, autonomy. As individuals with autonomy, we understand what is in our own best interest and what we believe. Experts cannot always tell us what is best for each of us because our individual concerns and values vary. Respecting our autonomy is an aspect of respecting ourselves as individuals. Sometimes we may be tempted to take decisions on behalf of others because we think we know what is really good for them. A parent may do this to a child, but we must respect the autonomy of adults. And that's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will discuss about veracity, beneficence, and non-maleficence. Veracity means truth. Veracity means truth, and the principle of autonomy is discussed here, and this is the second principle that needs to be anchored. Autonomy means a person's ability to act on his or her own values and interests. So, the important thing that discussed here is being true to ourselves, especially if we are a healthcare provider. We need to be honest in every action we have taken because it is so very critical when a person's life depends on it. So next is beneficence and non-maleficence. Beneficence is characterized as an act of kindness, mercy, and charity with a strong moral imperative to do good to others. It is important to make sure that medical staff members take into account unique situations and keep in mind that what is wonderful for one patient may not necessarily be great for another. And let's proceed to non-maleficence. According to the non-maleficence principle, it is wrong to cause harm to other people, which is right. We need to avoid others and the harmful things. Example of this is refusing to provide a drug to a patient if it has not been shown to be effective, or seizing a medication that is known to be dangerous. And that's all. And the next reporter will continue the discussion.
I'm Daryl D. Gatpulintan. Good morning, and my topic is all about justice. The discussion on justice has been a hot topic in the realm of academic discourses. Many thinkers attempted to expound the meaning of justice. Most of us conceive justice as retribute. Kasagaran sa tuwa, basta justice, masulid sa itong unahuna, kuhaan na yun, kaning gumaganti. It means that the justice is observed when justice is served. Ang hustisya ay sinusunod kapag ang hustisya ay naibigay. Plunderer legislators were in prison, murderer former governor was incarcerated, and criminals sent to prison. When criminals are not punished, we complain of the unjust practice. Example, kawatan, former governor o ang criminal. Dapat yun na sila ikulong. Kay og dili sila ikulong, daga man sila mabiktimang ubang tao. Nya, og dili pud sila ikulong, dagan pud ang tao nga moreklamo. However, justice not only retribute but also distributive. The latter form of justice is referring to how goods and services, power, wealth, and accountability are shared. So, ang hustisya ay hindi lamang gumaganti, kundi nagbabahagi din kung paano binabahagi ang mga kalakal at serbisyo, kapangyarihan at kayamanan, pasanin at pananagutan. Distributive justice is concerned with the fair and proper distributions of public benefits and burden among members of a community. So, ang distributive justice ay concerned sila sa wasto o tamang pagbahagi ng pampublikong benepisyo at pasanin or mga kapobrehon sa mga membro sa isang komunidad. This has been an issue that thinkers from the past up to the present time are trying to contemplate and elaborate to acquire a distinctive description of justice. Ito ay isang issue na ang mga nag-iisip mula sa nakaraan hanggang sa kasalukuyang panahon ay sinusubukang pagnilayan at ipaliwanag upang makuha ng isang natatanging paglalarawan ng katarungan. To understand more about distributive justice, let us try to study the historical development of such concept.
Good day. This is the continuation of report of Darrell Gatpulintan about justice. So let's start. Justice in historical concept. In the ancient times, justice was viewed according to merit. Plato in the Republic clearly described justice according to the role played by every citizen in the society. So, in the ancient times daw, ang justice was viewed according to merit. So, ang merit means the quality of being particularly good or worthy, especially so as to deserve praise or reward. This merit is given to the individual according to the individual share to the society. So, Plato believed that each member of the society understand and perform his or her proper role in the society, such as obeying the laws. Further, another form of justice which is determined by utility is promoted by the consequentialists, which are Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. So si John and Jeremy suggested that an action is good if it is produce happiness to greatest number of people. So which means ang action daw is good if nagaproduce siya og happiness sa kadaghanang tao or a greatest number of people. So later Bentham successor John Stuart Mill developed the doctrine into an ethical way, which is the formulation of doctrine.
The formulation of doctrine and act according to rules, so that such action may produce good for the greatest number of people. Nevertheless, this concept of justice is limited only to the majority, and the minority, which is often times the victim of injustices, is forgotten and neglected. So which means for instance, no, which means the majority are those rich people, no, who has more access to the concept of justice, and the minority is often the victims, no. For instance, the rich and poor, between the rich and poor, the rich person has more access to the health care, while the poor person, no, cannot no access because he is no unstable, financially unstable. For example, no, an old rich man was confined, no, in the hospital, and also the 18 years old boy also confined. These two has diagnosed in kidney, so they need no kidney transplant. So in this example, the concept of justice, justice of John Stuart Mill, uh, the old rich man will pri- will be prioritized because he financially, uh, uh, or he can afford no those transplant, or he can afford no the money no needing in transplant, but the boy, uh, he cannot because he can't afford, or he is no financially unstable. So selective justice is not necessarily of justice because it only considers some citizens in the society and not everybody. So in the selective justice, similar sila with the concept of justice by John Stuart Mill, because the selective justice gina-consider niya some citizens, but not everybody, no. So like so yun. um So another view of justice is the equality. Equality is state of being equal, especially in states, rights, and opportunities. Equality is very famous in every democratic society. So a democratic society is one that works towards the ideals of democracy, such as respect for individuals and their to make their own choices. So John Rawls is considered the most widely read uh, proponent of this view. The justice as equality can be explained using two principles. The first principle is the principle of liberty. The first principle means that each citizen the society provided. So it means tanan sa society is na right na enjoy ang mga oportunidad na gihatag sa society, such as right to freedom, right to speech, right to liberty, right to own a property, or whatsoever. And second, whenever some members in the society are constrained by their economic capability, it is the responsibility of the government and the affluent citizens to lift up their lives. So, um, so katong mga tao na dili financially unstable, or wala sila capability, no, na kuan na na or wala sila capability, ah ah, so wala sa dili sila or like poor sila, no. So Responsibility daw sila sa government o sa mga affluent citizens. So affluent citizen is kanang mga tao na rich, no? So ang government og affluent citizens is gina-lift up nila tong mga uh, capable na mga tao, no? Para mas um or iangat, no, nila tong mga kinabuhi sa katong mga tao na uh, economic constrained by their economic capability, no. Equality in this case simply means that every citizen must have the opportunity to live in the society according to the standard living, so which means tanan citizens, no, natay oportunidad, no, to live, no, according to our standard of living, or according to the standard of living of the society. The government is told to make this opportunity possible together with the help of the affluent member of the society. Possible siya because ang government og affluent citizen or member of the society is the one making opportunity to those people na walang kakayahan, no, sa buhay. And so, however, this situation might force the affluent citizens to help the underprivileged. This will resort to paying high taxes for each in order to subsidize the poor, which means ma-force yun ang mga rich people na itaasan ilahang mga taxes para matabangan tong mga kapuspalad or mga poor or underprivileged people, no. Question: is this not an infringement of personal liberty? So John Rawls pointed out the difference principle. So we have the second principle, which is the difference principle. The difference principle, the second principle suggests that an equality in the distribution of wealth or income is unjust whenever it does not benefit the poorest member of the society. It means sa second principle ni Rawls, unjust daw if na inequality sa distribution sa wealth or sa income. If it does not benefit the poorest member of the society. Second, inequality is permissible only if the practice is in favor to the less privileged in the society. Hence, inequality to the affluent citizen for the benefit of the unprivileged is justifiable. Justifiable. So, inequality is permissible daw only if the practice is favor to the less privileged in the society. So hence, inequality to the affluent citizen for the benefit of the unprivileged is justifiable. The second principle is also supported by the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocity means the practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit, especially privileges granted by one country or organization to another. So, the idea of reciprocity reminds everybody that those who benefit much from the system and the policy should reciprocate it. Hence, true community will be achieved and sustained. Which means, ang reciprocity daw is nag-remind sa mga tao na mga tao na naka-benefit sa system o sa policy should reciprocate or gantihan or tugunan tong mga less privileged people, no. So that's all for my report. Thank you and God bless.